everyone, I'm Splunker, and I'm continuing my speech on marine pollution and the effects it has on the environment. Most people think that marine pollution is the discharge of exhaust and petroleum from ocean-going vessels and marine petroleum drilling, but marine pollution is actually the presence of harmful chemicals or particles in oceans, estuaries, marshes, mangroves, or other marine environments. United Nations Education, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, also known as UNESCO, estimates that over 80% of marine pollution comes from land-based sources known as non-point source pollution, which is from runoff and even from us humans. The least cause of marine pollution is sediment runoff, where this is the source of naturally occurring marine pollution. Sediment runoff occurs when loose soil enters streams and rivers, and the agricultural and construction makes the runoff worse. Larger particles of runoff can clog the flow of water from rivers and streams to oceans and seas. The finer particles increase the cloudiness of the water, which blocks the light from reaching the aquatic plants on the bottom, and this therefore causes decreased aquatic vegetation that affects the fish and the shellfish that rely on the plants for food and shelter. The second least cause for marine pollution is algal blooms, and this occurs when microscopic algae, known as phytoplankton, feed off the nutrient runoff and proliferate greatly. Algal blooms may block the light from passing through the water as well, and release toxins into the water or deplete the water of dissolved oxygen through the bacterial decomposition of the algae. The depletion of dissolved oxygen in an aquatic environment is known as hypoxia, and most fish can't live without the oxygen when it drops below 30%. And then whenever this does drop below 30%, it's known as a hepatic environment, which is also referred to as a dead zone. According to UNESCO, there is approximately 500 marine dead zones covering nearly 250,000 kilometers that exist around the world. The two largest dead zones are the Baltic Sea, which has averaged more than 49,000 kilometers over the last several decades, and the Gulf of Mexico, which reached a record of 21,965 square kilometers in 2002. The Gulf of Mexico dead zone has shrank to 13,085 square kilometers in 2014, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The third cause of marine pollution is the dumping of raw sewage into ocean waters, and this is a global problem. The heavily sewage-affected coastal waters can be unsafe for swimming, and the sewage sludge can settle on the seabed and destroy the marine life there. In the Mediterranean Sea region alone, 80% of urban sewage and wastewaters are discharged undertreated or untreated into the sea. In India, raw sewage is commonly dumped into the nation's largest rivers, which then spill into the ocean. And from 1986 to 1992, over 42 million tons of treated sewage sludge from the New York City metropolitan area was dumped into the Deepwater Canyon in the northern Atlantic Ocean. The fourth and foremost cause of marine pollution is trash and solid debris, particularly in the form of plastic. Plastic accounts for 90% of all the trash floating on the surface of the oceans. In fact, the United Nations Environmental Program, also known as UNEP, estimates that every square kilometer in the ocean contains approximately 17,760 pieces of plastic. Plastics and other garbage are carried by ocean currents into confluences and vortexes of currents called gyres. The North Pacific Gyre has amassed the world's largest collection of floating debris. The Pacific Garbage Patch covers an area larger than the U.S. state of Alaska. At many places on Earth, currents carry large amounts of floating debris and waste back to the shore, forming what are known as garbage beaches. Plastic kills more than 1 million seabirds and more than 100,000 marine mammals each year. Plastic can even enter the food chain, and this happens whenever the smaller fish feed on the smaller pieces known as microplastics, and then The microplastics bioaccumulate as the larger fish consume the smaller fish. Studies show that microplastics may concentrate other toxic chemicals already present in the water, thus increasing their toxic effects when consumed by the organisms. Scientists have also found that microplastics, along with most other forms of marine pollution, are present in all of the world's oceans. In the end, I understand that marine pollution is not talked about as much as the other types of pollution, but it can still impact us as bad as the others. As we can see from all the information that I provided, marine pollution affects all kinds of marine life, from the aquatic plants to the fish and marine mammals. Even the debris itself can harm humans by getting caught up in the boat propellers or killing off some of our own resources for food from the oceans. In the end, marine pollution needs to be talked about more because, if not, there may not be that beautiful vacation spot on the beach or gorgeous, colorful reefs to explore. And like many people tend to say, we don't want to live in regret knowing that we started a trend of pollution that cannot be stopped and will ruin much of the beauty we see today.
Good job.
Good job.